Today, we are going to be talking about survivorship bias and runaway bestsellers. My name is Gina. I am an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. The question came in here, can a middle grade series change to YA over the course of the series? And usually the answer to that question is going to be no. And that's because middle grade and YA are marketing categories, and I often get a similar one, can YA change to adult over the course of the series? And usually the answer to that one also is no, because again, these are marketing categories. So they are spending a bunch of time getting their audience to read book 1, 2, and 3, and these are all middle grade books aimed at kids who are 8 to 13, but then suddenly book 4 is aimed at teenagers. So you are counting on your entire audience having read 1, 2, and 3 and leveling up with you into that new marketing category so you can market books 4, 5, and 6 to them. And that's really hard to do. You are trying to market to the same people for a really long time, but they changed a lot. A lot of kids change significantly from the time they are 8 to the time they are 14, or from the time they are 15 to the time they are 22. You changed a lot over those years. It's kind of the point of those years, is to change a lot. And I know there are people already with their little thumbs tapping away being like, okay, Percy Jackson, Harry Potter, what are you talking about? All of these big blockbuster series change from middle grade to YA over the course of the story. And do you remember what I said at the beginning of the video? This is part of why we don't compare ourselves to runaway bestsellers. Harry Potter and Percy Jackson got to do that because they were exceptional, because they were connecting with an audience that was larger than the standard audience, with an audience that was larger than almost anybody could ever expect to connect with again. I don't think we will see a book fandom the way that we did in the 2000s for a very long time. Like that was totally and completely bonkers for book series to have a grip on people the way that they did. And we are talking about Percy Jackson, Twilight, Hunger Games, Harry Potter. Like that is not a trifecta, what's a fourfecta? Those book series had such a grip on pop culture. It is wild. And if you weren't there, it's hard to believe how much sway those books held over the world. And so they got to do things that the rest of the publishing industry doesn't get to do. Percy Jackson and Harry Potter both transitioned from middle grade to YA over the course of the stories, but were very, very popular with adult readers. Twilight transitions from YA to adult over the course of a story, but again was very, very popular with adult readers. Hunger Games doesn't really transition, but again, it was a YA book that was very popular with adult audiences, and people were going the other direction as well. They were handing these YA books to 11 and 12-year-old kids, and I don't want to hear whether or not you agree with that. People get to make their own parenting decisions, but they were handing these books to younger kids so that the whole family could be involved in this together. But that's not usual. That's not standard. That you can't expect that to be the outcome within your story or within your books. And while Percy Jackson and Harry Potter for sure were both planned to last for the number of books the way that they did, those authors were given more freedom and they were given more autonomy because of the success of the early books. Because they were reaching such a huge audience, they were allowed to do things that other middle grade authors wouldn't have been allowed to do because they were being more successful. If you start making like $1 billion for your publishing company, they're going to let you do kind of whatever you want. But if you were making $1 billion for your publisher, you wouldn't be here asking me these questions. And now here's where we put in the caveat that if you are self-publishing, you can do whatever you want. So if you are the one putting these books out into the world and you're the one assuming the financial risk and you're the one who's going to be responsible for marketing to 2 different audiences and trying to convince middle grade kids to come with you up into young adult and trying to convince young adult readers to go back and read books that were made for kids younger than them, like if you're going to be responsible for all of that, you can do whatever you want to do. But this is one of the reasons why I tell people not to look to those mega ultra runaway bestsellers for examples of what to do when it is non-standard advice, because they got to do things that not everybody gets to do.